Smart India 2016, and with me I have Klaus from World Bank. Welcome to the show, Klaus. So would you like to tell our viewers about World Bank initiatives in the field of geospatial, how the World Bank has been promoting and encouraging the use of spatial technologies for a better world?
Of course, what we are doing is we are providing loans or grants to our client countries, and increasingly in all areas that we are working on, whether that is to, and all of them are aimed at alleviating poverty and reducing poverty, but in all areas that we are looking at, be it agriculture and effective land use, or be it urban development, infrastructure provision, transport, and private investment, geospatial has completely transformed the field, and it's only slowly that our client countries are catching up, and so there's a very important role for the World Bank to provide them with guidance and standards, and also help them to digest the avalanche of information that is available and make the best use of this information in a way that can help reduce poverty.
Are there any mandates in particular fields where World Bank or UN has given to the countries to use of spatial technologies?
I think we are working very closely with UN-GGIM in order to develop standards and to also focus on interoperability, so that different government departments in the client countries do not acquire software solutions that lock them in, or image that lock them in with one particular system, but that the information is portable and can be used by many departments at the same time, because to make the most effective use of map resources and other resources that are being acquired. Also, I think we are increasingly helping countries to develop open source solutions and make sure that these solutions can be maintained. So clearly I think that is an important role in terms of providing the technology and also guiding them to get some oversight and transparency of the market.
Which are the technologies that World Bank focuses on?
So all of the technologies are in the context of specific projects. So if we talk about infrastructure loan, then of course we need to map, we need to see where do you need to acquire the land, what is the most effective routes, how do you plan, or if you talk about urban development, then we talk about city planning. How do you make sure that infrastructure keeps ahead of the expansion of cities so that you don't get informal settlements, and then also upgrading of existing settlements and infrastructure. So clearly in that context we are providing geospatial, or we are helping client countries access geospatial solutions in many different ways, starting from mapping to information processing, and making sure that then also this information is shared transparently with the end user so that they can make use of it.
How can land rights be connected to better sustainable world?
Of course, land rights are fundamental, because on the one hand land is a key asset for many of the poor people in this world, and I think it has a very strong gender dimension, because often women are discriminated against or disadvantaged in terms of their access to land. Also, if we want to improve productivity, then having clear understanding of who has the rights to the land is absolutely fundamental, because then people will be able to make investments, or also obtain credit that can allow them to make investments. So clearly, and of course if you talk about spatial planning and land acquisition by the private sector, again good land information is absolutely essential. So I think a big part of the World Bank's portfolio in that area has been to help clarify land rights, document existing rights so that existing users can actually have the security of being able to possess that land in the future, and then use that in ways, make the information available transparently to everybody, document the land rights, and then allow that to be both help for the functioning of land markets, but also for the development of financial markets. So that, and then ultimately development of geospatial solutions. And I think in that context we are working with both with yield forecasting, soil mapping, documenting the resource status, and helping people not only to document the rights, but then also make more effective use of the rights. and use the land more productively.
So how can effective land management be connected to building of future perfect smart cities?
And of course, in many contexts, a key constraint is that there are so many different institutions involved, and that coordination between these institutions is often very difficult. And that's why having a geospatial platform, and where you have different layers that different departments can access and can add to, is very important. And that is one thing that we are from the World Bank supporting very strongly through the development of appropriate standards.
There is an increasing urbanization. There is a trend of urbanization, which is leading to depleting resources. Is there a World Bank mandate towards monitoring of these for a better sustainable world?
I think certainly we help countries monitor land use in quite a number of different aspects. And of course there are two elements to it. One is as cities are growing, you want to make sure that you provide infrastructure, and you also help to densify rather than spread out, so that you don't get traffic congestions and long commutes, but you have cities that are dense and that are livable and that are green and that don't consume huge amounts of energies and get people stuck in traffic commutes for hours. And then of course on the other hand, to provide the necessary resources both in terms of food and other mineral and resources for cities to strive and to prosper, and that of course requires proper land management in rural areas. And again, for that, mapping land resources and being clear about the rights, who owns these rights, is very important and is an important part of the World Bank's portfolio. So clearly it's becoming from all directions, and that's why it's an integral part, and that's why it is of country strategies, where then the country needs to identify what are the different land uses that we have, what are the programs in place, and what are the regulations that we put in place in order to encourage proper land use throughout the spectrum, from the most remote and tribal villages to the cities and downtown business districts in the cities. And of course that requires a flexible approach and a fit-for-purpose solution, and in that context we have been working with professional organizations as well as service providers to help to establish these standards and then pass them on to client countries.
That would be all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.